Hi, hello, how are you, Pia? Welcome to a new reading vlog. I have not done a reading vlog in what feels like forever. I've kind of been in a reading slump, but like low-key, like I haven't been talking about it. But I'm slowly dipping my toes back in, and I thought, what better time to start a reading vlog than when I am getting back into reading. One thing I wanted to do this year is I wanted to do a video and I wanted to read all of one category of the Goodreads Choice Award nominees. And I thought, I was looking at my reading this year and I was looking at what I used to read. And I thought, what better genre to do than romance? Because I used to be a romance girly. I really did. And I used to just like entirely read romance books, and I feel like I have read like 2 this year. Like I don't think I've read any. Many of the books on the nominees list are books that were on my most anticipated releases of the year, and I haven't read them yet. So like this is just like that extra push. It's like me reading my most anticipated releases and also reading the Goodreads Choice Awards that I might not have gotten to. So I already did cast my vote for the romance book because I voted for the only book that I've read on this list because I gave it 5 stars. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna read all of these, but I'm gonna read the ones that I think are gonna win. Or like be in the top 10, you know what I mean? I actually have read more, more than I remembered. So I haven't heard of like a good half of these, but I'm definitely gonna read the ones that I have heard of because those are the ones I think are gonna get picked anyways. So I did vote for Meet Me at the Lake because it just hit that, it scratches that itch. Like Carly Fortune scratches that itch for me and I really like it. So I'll probably read these like audiobook, ebook kind of vibe. I'm not gonna buy any books, but I was buying a book for a class, so I did actually get the 7-Year Slip, which is so funny because I don't even think I own the Dead Romantics. I thought I did. I truly thought I did, which is why I bought this. And then I was like, I don't actually think I own that. And this is one of my most anticipated releases of the year, so like, why haven't I read it yet? This is like a time loop situation. The apartment is stuck in 7 years in the past, and she's sharing the apartment with this guy, and they fall in love. So that's exciting. I really love the Dead Romantics. I gave it 4 stars, I think. So I'm definitely excited to read this one, and this is gonna be my first read for the video, and I'm just so excited to like physically read. I have not physically read in what feels like years. Probably since my last reading vlog, I gotta be so honest with you. Like I eased back in with audiobooks, and now I'm like, I'm ready for a physical book. I'm ready to flip a page. So I'm really excited. It's a short book. It's like 320 pages, which is like, I think the perfect length for these books. If any of these books are like 400, 500 pages, I'm gonna like scream, cry, throw up. I'm gonna get so upset. But this is gonna be the first one that I pick up, and I'm gonna start reading it now because I have some time to kill. So let's do that. Okay, quick book update while I'm lying here on my couch. I think I just figured out this book, which is a little annoying. It's a little annoying. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit annoyed. Okay, I'm in my cozies right now, so don't worry about it. But I am 60 pages into the 7-Year Slip. Is that what it's called? And I don't know if the point, okay, so this book is about a girl named Clementine, and Clementine thinks she like has it all going for her because she's like Miss Career, and she is like, I put my career above everything else, and that is what I need. And like, honestly, I respect the grind. Like, I honestly, like, she's working in publishing, like, she has like a great job in publishing, she's about to be promoted. I'm like, I want to be you a little bit. Like, who needs the romance book of this book? You know, like, I could just have a whole book about her just like being a boss bitch in publishing. But that's not the point of the romance book. So obviously that's not good. It's not good to value your career above all else and not yourself, your personal well-being and your health and your romantical life. But, so that's the moral of the story. And Clementine, her aunt recently passed away, like 6 months ago. And she left her this apartment, this beautiful rent-controlled apartment on the Upper East Side. She is living there and she's like always been told this apartment's a little bit magical. And the thing that's magical about this apartment is that it has a time loop in it that when you go into the apartment, sometimes you open the door and it's 7 years in the past. And this worked out really badly for her grandmother because she like fell in love, and one of the rules about this apartment is you can't fall in love. And so obviously Clementine's gonna fall in love. Like, very clearly this is a romance book. So Clementine's gonna fall in love with this guy who she meets, who's living here at the same time she is, but 7 years in the past. And I just wanna know, like, am I supposed to be like, is it a mystery to me, like, who this guy is in the present timeline? Because, like, I already know who he is and I'm 60 pages in. Like, unless I'm completely wrong, which, like, I'll let you know if I am, if my assumption is like, was a red herring or something like that. But like, and the funny thing is I was gonna do this exact update, except without knowing like the full plot, like 30 pages ago when we met this character, and I was like, this character seems like the love interest. And I was like, but I'm not sure if he is. And I think he is. I think he's the love interest in the present timeline. So that's funny to me. I don't know. I don't know if that's the point. I don't know if we're supposed to be like curious about who it's gonna be and like finding him. I think we found him. It's so obvious, right? Like it's too obvious for you not to think. Like, you know what I mean? I am enjoying this book. It's a little bit like classic romance book. But I do, like I said, I really like the publishing aspect of this book because I'm a bitch in publishing. I'm a bitch, hopefully, getting into publishing. And I really like what she's talking about there. I also really like the aunt character. Like, even though she's not like in the book necessarily, there's a lot of like memories of her, which I really enjoy. And I feel like she seems a lot like the aunt in La La Land. It reminds me a lot of her, and the relationship is very similar to me. It's not gonna be La La Land. I was just gonna be like, should I compare it? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure about the love interest yet. He seems nice. He seems nice. The friends seem fun. Yeah, the problems seem classic. It feels a little bit like, no, because that's like a marriage of convenience. I don't know. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. So I'm gonna go back to reading. I just want to tell you I figured it out. I solved the mystery. I solved the mystery book in this romance book because this is in fact romantic suspense. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm gonna go back to reading this and having a blast because I haven't read in a long time and this is really tickling my fancy. Is that the word? Phrase? Update, I have finished the 7-Year Slip. It only took me like 2 days to read this book, which is pretty great for me considering I've been in a reading slump for the last little bit. But I did really end up enjoying this. Like I said, I predicted it, but it wasn't like the thing I predicted like was held until the end, which I enjoyed because if it had been, I would have been like, literally, what is the point of that? So I liked how it like twisted what I was expecting. But in More Ways Than One, this is a predictable book. Like, this is not revolutionary, but I think that the way that Ashley Poston writes like romance and characters is just unparalleled. Like, I really just enjoy her relationships and seeing them be cultivated and grow, and like I really like them. So, and I also just like want a sexy chef to appear in my apartment, you know what I mean? I'm giving this 4 stars. Definitely a great book. Like, I definitely feel like the same feelings I felt with the Dead Romantics, which I also gave 4 stars. It's just like not perfect. Like, and not that it has to be perfect, but it's just like, it's not perfect and perfect for me. So like but I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed a lot about it. And I also am like immediately giving this to my mom because I think she would love it. Like, the food descriptions in here, I was like reading them aloud and I was like salivating. I was like obsessed. So the next book that I'm going to read for this Reading Goodreads Choice Awards nominees for romance, I'll figure out what I'm calling this video later, is going to be Happy Place, because I'm already 30% in and I wasn't entirely enjoying this over the summer. So we're gonna get back to it now that it's winter and I am like, need my summer nostalgia. Maybe in the summer moment I wasn't feeling it, but I need to like rekindle the summer in retrospect. I don't know. We'll see if I end up enjoying it more this next try, but that's what we're gonna be reading next. So something about me, like, I don't know if I like how the story is being told. Happy Place, right? I just think I'm maybe not like a big flashbacks person. Am I in focus? I don't think I'm a big flashbacks person, and I think even though, like, looking back on it, like the 7-Year Slip I think had a few flashbacks, and like granted, like the time in the apartment was technically in the past, any way you slice it, but like I also did reorganize my bookshelves again. Have I shown you this bookshelf before? Hi. But I don't think I like flashbacks, and I don't know why exactly, and I think that might be why this book is not really working for me. Like, I'm still like 30% into it, and like this is the point where I was like, I'm gonna soft DNF it. I'm gonna power through, but I am definitely like picking up on like, am I just not a flashback person? Because like, it is like, not that it's mostly told in flashback, it doesn't have like flashback chapters. I think I'm okay with flashback chapters. I'm not loving we're in the middle of something happening and like a scene, and then we like go back in time to a different scene that like reminded me of this scene, and I'm like, I don't care that much. I think I also just like, it's weird that this is, Happy Place is about a relationship that has already ended, has already happened, and then they're like kind of pushed back together. And I don't like that we don't see, even though we do see, like Emily Henry does like give us like the beginnings of their relationship and like all this and stuff. But it's like, it happened in the past, and like, it's not like happening in the present, and it's happening at the same time that they're like hating each other and like can't stand like to be in the same room as each other. So it's like, I can't like, I don't feel like I'm falling in love with them as they're falling in love, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like as invested in their relationship because I know it already ended once. So who's to say it's not gonna end if they start again? I don't know. Anyway, those are my thoughts because I just picked this book back up and I was like, oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to reorganizing my bookshelf because it is my favorite hobby. All right, it's time for the update. So I have finished Happy Place, and I think, actually I have no idea what I'm gonna rate it. I literally just finished it, like just read the last word not even a minute ago. So I don't know what I'm gonna rate it yet. Maybe as I talk through my thoughts and feelings, I will come to a rating decision. Let me talk about what I liked first, because I know I kind of like shit on it a lot in the last clip. There are things I liked. I liked the present timeline of the romance. Like, I really liked seeing Win and Harriet reconnect and like find kind of where they went wrong and kind of where they didn't communicate and how they can make a stronger, better relationship from that. And I liked that. I really liked that timeline. I think, no, we're talking about what I liked. It's like, hold on. And I liked the present timeline, definitely, a lot. I think that was my favorite, which is interesting because it's like only half the book. But anyway, I really liked Win. Like, I really liked Win as a love interest. I didn't love Harriet, but I really liked Win because I felt like he was pretty different from Emily Henry's other love interests. And I liked that he is kind of like, yeah, just really different. And like, it kind of reminded me of, you know, like that trope of like, of like the rich, successful businesswoman moves to a small town and finds love and then just abandons her entire like life for the cute like small town boy. He reminded me of like that kind of guy, like the small town guy, and like, but I think that he had enough nuance to him that he was like interesting, and he also wasn't like, I need you to leave your success and your job and whatever for me. Like, I liked that he didn't do that. Let's talk about what I didn't like. I didn't like the flashbacks. I didn't like the flashbacks. Like, I honestly think that you didn't have to, I could have done with like half of this book. Like, I don't think I needed to see the flashbacks at all. I actually don't think it was necessary, which is like, I don't know if I haven't really read reviews of this book, so like, I don't know. There's also one, I'm sorry, I'm filming this the day the Goodreads like winners came out. Like, I've been filming this for a while, but today the Goodreads winner came out and it was this book, and like, I don't know, something about like the romance like in the past timeline like wasn't striking a chord with me. Like, I feel like there were such obvious problems in the beginnings of their relationship, which is like obvious why they like broke up, like why they weren't, like why we start the book where it's like they have to fake date because they broke up and whatever, and like it's so obvious to me like where those problems and those cracks lied in their relationship. But like, so I didn't find that very like interesting to read about because I was like, you're doing it wrong and you're gonna break up anyway. So it's like, I knew it, I don't know, it's kind of like you read the last chapter of a book and then you're like going back and starting it from the beginning. That's kind of what it feels like, because it's like, I know where you're ended up. I also can assume that by the end of this book you're gonna get back together. So I don't really need to see like you getting together, breaking up, getting together again. Like, I don't need to see all of it. The focus on like friends and family was really interesting in this book, I think. I think that it was going too hard on the romance for there to be enough development in the friends and family dynamics and the things that it was trying to say there. Because I think that like it has some really interesting things to say about like happiness and like finding your happy place and what that means to you, and like being happy in the things you do and not being defined by your job and like all these things. I think that like it's trying to say a lot of important things. And I think, oh, that's another thing. I love Emily Henry's writing. I think she writes beautifully. Like, girl can construct a sentence. And I think that she writes really well. I just don't think the story was for me. Like, I didn't really connect with like the friend group. Like, I'm also not someone who like can relate to that. So like maybe that's part of it. But like, I didn't feel like there was enough development in like the friend group. And like, I feel like each kind of friend was defined by like one characteristic. There are sections of the present timeline just weren't developed at all. It was just like, we are here for the romance, so we're not really caring about the friends. But there was so much of the friends that it's like, what? And then same with like the family. I felt like it really tried to like build out the difference in their backgrounds and like how they grew up and like what their parents, like how the parents fucked them up, and like I feel like it was trying to do stuff there, but it kind of was like half-assed. I don't know. That's how I'm feeling about it. I'm like between a 2 and a 3. Like the thing is, like, I didn't enjoy reading this book. I did not find my happy place while reading this book, unfortunately. It didn't give me the vibes, honestly. Like, it didn't give me the vibes of an Emily Henry book, which is like fun, summer, woo. And like, I know it's December when I'm reading this book, but like still, it didn't, like, I feel like there wasn't enough of like the setting to like enrich the plot. Anyway, so maybe like a 2.5. Like, honestly, oh, and there was this whole part, like, as much as I love Emily Henry, she does like over-explain stuff sometimes. And girl was talking about the Mandela effect, and she, for a whole paragraph, explained what the Mandela effect is. And I was like, you think Wynne really doesn't know the Mandela effect and Harriet has to fucking explain for a goddarn paragraph about the Mandela effect? I was like, is this an editor's choice? Like, do you think we don't know? Like, do you think Wynne as a character doesn't know? I was so confused. I was like, why are you mansplaining the Mandela effect to me, Emily Henry? Anyway, that's the winner of the Goodreads Choice Awards. So everyone clearly has taste. I can understand what Emily Henry's doing, which is kind of what she did in Book Lovers, and I didn't really love Book Lovers either, which is like having this like unlikable boss bitch protagonist. And I like that Harriet's different, like definitely different than Nora in Book Lovers. But I just didn't like Harriet. I didn't like Harriet at all. Like, I really didn't. I felt like she wasn't a very strong character. Anyway, I'm between a 2 and a 3. The next book that I'm gonna read for this video is not the winner, but we're gonna pick another book. I think I'm going to read The Long Game. I also noticed there are a lot of sequels on this list, which I'm probably not gonna read the sequels because if they're series that I haven't already started, because I know like romance series are like mostly companions, but like still, I don't want to read like the 3rd book in a series. So anyway, the next book I'm gonna read is The Long Game. Now, I didn't like The Spanish Love Deception. I could not get through it. I think I read it for a book talk video, back when I first discovered book talk. I didn't like that, but this one is it more interesting to me? I don't know. My main problem with the Spanish Love Deception was that it's so freaking long. I want to say it's like 500 pages. This one is, okay, it's longer than Happy Place, and I already thought Happy Place was long. So there's that. It is 384 pages, so not as long as The Spanish Love Deception, so I feel like I can survive. Now, what is this book about? I actually don't know. I think it's about a soccer player who's like now working with kids. Disgraced soccer exec reluctantly enlists the help of a retired soccer star in coaching a children's team in a small town love story. Yeah, that sounds good. It doesn't have actually very high ratings. It's like a 3.6 on Goodreads. Don't know what that's about, but I'm gonna start it and we're gonna see. I think I'm gonna read this book and then 2 other books from the category for this video. We are in the same spot, but it is a day later. I'm now 30% into The Long Game. I was gonna say The Game Plan, and I was like, wait, that's a movie with Madison Pettis. I'm 30% into The Game Plan. No, The Long Game. And I have an update for you. So basically, like I said, this is about a like former soccer star, former goalie, keeper, if we're being fancy, who retired and is now living in like this small town, Cuteville, and like and coaching a little girl's little league soccer team. And our female protagonist has just been like exiled from her like executive position at a soccer team because of this big blowout she had, and is now like sent to this like royal cute town to like help with the little kids team. And they hate each other because of course they do. I like it. I like it so far. I don't love it. I definitely don't love it. But there are some things that are working for me. I do love the little kids. Their personalities are so sweet and so fun, and they're sassy and they know what's up. They're talking about birth charts. Like, it's kind of cute. As much as I don't like the main character. She's not like my type of character that I typically like fall in love with, but I like that she's really different. Like, out of all the kind of books that we're reading for this video, she is super different from all the other main characters. She's super driven, she's kind of bossy, and she's just like a boss bitch. And like that's not my type of like person I love to read about all the time, but I really like that she's really different, and you don't really see characters like her in a leading woman position where she's not like taken down a peg, and I don't feel like she is going to be, especially with this love interest who's kind of like meeting her at this kind of like grumpy level. And I do like the love interest. The love interest is British, so he does have an accent, and do I love that? Yes, I do. Yes, I freaking do. He has an accent. What else? And he's also Italian. He's British and Italian. So I was like, what actually could be better? And I am picturing one of the guys from the Wrexham team because that is all I know about soccer, and it's really great for me. The whole like enemies to lovers doesn't always work for me because like I don't feel like there's a real necessity for them to be enemies, but I wasn't going into it knowing it was gonna be enemies to lovers. So like I'm just like, okay, you hate each other, quote unquote, but like when are we gonna get to? When are we gonna get to it? And it seems like it's gonna be fast. Like it seems like it's gonna be fast. They're really attracted to each other, and they just did yoga together. They did like goat yoga. There's goats in this book too, which like also farm girl right here. Okay, why do people talk loudly in the hallway? That's what I wanna know. It's a Saturday night, come on. Anyway, there's goats in this book and chickens and farm animals. Oh my. It's reminding me of Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. And I'm curious to see which I like more because I think that wasn't my favorite one of hers if I remember correctly. That came out like a couple years ago. It is like a similar vibe with like the kind of like business woman put together main character, small town, going to a small town vibe. It's different, definitely in a lot of ways, but it's reminding me of that in a few ways. So yeah, I'm going to keep reading that. And let you know probably once I finished it, unless anything crazy happens in the plot. And now there's sirens. But I can definitely tell right off the bat that the writing has improved. Like this author's writing has improved so much from her first book. Like I don't think The Spanish Love Deception was self-published, but like no, it was published by Atria, wasn't it? Okay, now she's being published under Atria. I was right, because I actually have two brain cells to rub together. Thank you very much. But it doesn't say that the first one was published by Atria, so I think it was self-published. Don't quote me on that. And if you know, actually, if you know if The Spanish Love Deception was self-published and then maybe re-released, I'm trying to remember. I wasn't very interested. I didn't like the book, so I wasn't very interested in like knowing about it. So, but yeah, she's definitely come a long way. Probably has a better editor now. I don't know, but it's a shorter book and it's like paced pretty well. I mean, they are definitely like really attracted to each other from the beginning, but I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. And yeah, it's not super overwritten like her first book. So I'm pleasantly surprised, and I'm cautiously optimistic for the rest of the book. Okay, so I finished The Long Game. And like, fuck an epilogue. I hate an epilogue, especially in romance books. I hate an epilogue. I mean, it takes like, I have to be so in love with a relationship to enjoy an epilogue, and like that so rarely happens. Anyways, I don't care about the epilogue, but I did finish this book. And there are things that like I didn't love about it. Like I also don't think like this setup is exactly like my favorite, you know? I love the main character, like I love what she's doing for her, but like I don't love it for me. Like it's not my vibe. And like some of the things that they did and said in those sex scenes were just like, we're kind of kooky. And then like some of the like twists, there are a few like little twists in the book. And like one is like this big secret that you don't know like how the main character got fired, which you basically do know. So like when that's revealed, I'm like, we already knew this, but okay. So there's that, but then there's other little twists of like things that they didn't know about each other. And they're just so like out of left field, and I'm like, what? Anyway, I finished that book and I'm giving it 3 stars because I did like, I liked it. I think it's solid. I definitely think I'm going to read more from this author, which is really exciting because like I had definitely like this author and me, we were not besties, and like I did not think we were gonna work after The Spanish Love Deception and the flop that was that book. And now I'm like, okay, like I'll see the setup. I'll read the synopsis of her next book. Does she have a book while we're here? Does she have another book on the horizon? This this is the oh gosh, this is the first one in the Long Game series. There's gonna be another book called The Shortlist, and it's following Josie and Matthew. Who's Matthew? I don't know who Matthew is, but I know who Josie is, which actually makes me kind of excited for this book because I like Josie as a character. Okay, like I might read it. I might put it on my most anticipated. I don't know. Thankfully, I just got the loan for the audiobook out from my library for The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I was a big Christina Lauren girl, like not really like I've read a few of their like older smut books, but I really love their rom-coms and I've read so many of them. I just kind of fell off, like I think since like the Honey Don't List I haven't really been picking them up, and there's no particular reason. I think I actually did read this book as a companion to the Soulmate Equation, which I read and really liked. I think I had an arc of it. I think Christina Lauren gives me arcs, which amazing. Yeah, I just haven't really been thinking about their releases in a while, and I guess again it's because I haven't been reading a lot of romance books, and they're kind of like my go-to romance, but I just have not been reading. But anyway, this is following the side character of the best friend of the main character in The Soulmate Equation. I literally hate these titles. And I'm interested because I think I've read that like this wasn't exactly planned, like they weren't planning on making this like a little series, and they weren't planning for this side character to become a main character, so I'm really interested to see how her character kind of shapes up. I don't really remember her super well, but I do think that's like an interesting, like from a writerly perspective, like that's a really interesting transition to have to make. Like I've thought about that before with like my own books, if I could like make a book centering around one of my side characters, and I feel like it would really take a lot for me to really, I keep saying really. I also write really a lot and Grammarly tells me to stop. I think that would take, I don't know, an interesting skill set to like fully develop a character that's just been a side character. Anyway, that is all to say I'm interested in reading it and excited I now have the audiobook from my library, which means I can download the ebook today. I do have football to watch, so I'm gonna watch my football, which is actually about to start, and I will update you when I have started the True Love Experiment. Welcome to my kitchen. Today, I'm going to be making a big salad. I make a big salad very often, so I'm gonna just make a salad today. Get out all my ingredients. I'm making a salad that a version of a salad that I get from Sweetgreen because I love Sweetgreen, but it's expensive. So that's what we're gonna do today. And the main reason I'm coming at you live is to update you on the True Love Experiment, because I have gotten 15% into it. So I have met the love interest, I've gotten to the setup, I know what's going on. So basically I didn't read the synopsis of this book before picking it up because like I knew I had to read it for this video. It was also one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and like I just knew I was gonna read it. I didn't really care what it was gonna be about. So we're following Fizzy, and Fizzy is, like I said, the best friend of the main character of the Soulmate Equation. Fizzy is a romance novelist. She is, I keep wanting to say her name because I just kind of love her name. Like I love that she's Fizzy. Her name's Felicity. She is having some trouble writing her kind of latest book because she hasn't really like found love. She's been more of a like one night stand, hit it and quit it type of gal. So she's like in a rut. She doesn't know what she's gonna do. And then we meet our male love interest, and he is a single dad, and hashtag we love single dads. Oh, no. The Soulmate Equation, she was a single mom. So also we love single moms as well. We just love single and available people who are capable of raising children. And he is a producer, I want to say, and he has an idea for a new reality dating show based around Fizzy. And he and Fizzy meet, they lock eyes across the bar, and they're like, they're attractive. And like, do I not love that setup? Like, that is my favorite. That is how my parents met. That is how I came to be. So like, I love that. But anyway, so that's how they meet. And then they meet again in this meeting where he's like pitching her the idea, and she's like very not down for it because kind of being a dick about it and not # respecting her. So eventually she does like agree to do it with like all these conditions, and that is the setup for the book. This could go one of two ways. Like I don't think as a rule, I hate reality show like books. I don't think I hate them. I don't think they're my thing either. Like, I've read a fair few. I don't think I've ever really enjoyed one, but that's not to say that I can't. I think I could either really like the direction it takes with being a reality show romance, or I can hate it. Like, I think there's definite like problems with like the reality show-ness of a romance book. And now I'm cooking my chicken. I think that there's problems in too many characters. There's problems in the producer-star dynamic I don't really love. So that's how I feel about it. I don't know. I do like the characters so far, like in general, like by themselves. So I think I would be interested in having them in a relationship. It's just, I'm not sure if like the setup of the relationship is something that I'm actually like buying. So I'm going to keep you updated. I generally am pretty much going to, I have been just like listening to the audiobook for the most part for this book, not really on purpose, just because I've had like other things I can do while listening, and I just felt like doing that. I do generally like Christina Lauren's audiobooks. I didn't really like, what was the last book? And she has no memory of it. She has absolutely no memory of it. The Long Game, I didn't really like the male narrator for that one. And this one is also, it's also dual POV, which again, like, is not something that's my favorite in romance books. Like, I don't really need both of their perspectives on a romance. I don't know, I've always found the male perspective to be boring. I'm gonna finish making dinner and then hopefully read some more of this book and update you tomorrow. I'm honestly, like, I have such a small apartment that, like, I'm constantly trying to find new angles. So we're in the bathroom because I'm gonna straighten my bangs. This is where I straighten my bangs every time. I'm updating you on the True Love Experiment. And I felt like this, in talking about this book, it was a good time to talk about the nominees in general. Something that's very glaring about publishing in general, and about the romance category and the thriller category and a lot of the categories in the Goodreads Choice Awards is how predominantly white these categories are. Why is it that we're only publishing, revering, and reading white authors and books? I want to talk about this in conversation with the True Love Experiment because the True Love Experiment is written by Christina Lauren, and they are writing their main character, who is a Chinese American woman named Pixie. That's the main character. And I think what's interesting about this book, maybe, you know, more than other books, is that it's about a romance author. So it's about a famous romance author. You know, Pixie is supposed to be a #1 best-selling author. She's supposed to have sold millions of copies. You know, she's supposed to be the Christina Lauren type of author. And it's kind of glaring to me that there's no Chinese American romance author in the Goodreads Choice Awards. So like, it's kind of like weird to me. That's like the thing I don't like about this book. I constantly, like, I don't know if there were sensitivity readers for this. Like, I don't know what the process was like for them writing this book. I do think that there is an importance to telling your own story and to letting other people tell theirs. I feel like it is also important to tread carefully when you're writing not from your own perspective. And I'm not, you know, Chinese American, so I can't speak to the representation in this. There's a whole wedding that has like these traditional things that I can't speak to. Like, I don't know if they're correct. I don't know if they're like insensitive or whatever. I can't speak to that. But I just find it so interesting that Christina Lauren are, you know, in this category writing about a Chinese American author who there is no Chinese American author in this category. Like, I feel like that's important to talk about. Like, I think it's really important to talk about how white these books are. I think it's important to talk about how hetero they all are. There's not a single queer romance in the category, and that's upsetting. I don't know, like, do better publishing. Like, I gave the True Love Experiment 3.5 out of 5 stars just because I can't give this 4 because I gave this Soulmate Equation 4 and I really liked the Soulmate Equation. And as considering the obvious problems in the Goodreads Choice Awards, like, it would have been nicer to have like an Own Voices like perspective in this category. But I'm gonna read my last book for this video, which is going to be the, what is it called? Love Theoretically. I have mixed emotions with Ali Hazelwood. Like I liked the Love Hypothesis. I know it's like Raylo fanfic, but I liked it. And then I read Love on the Brain and I hated it. And this one I was like more excited. I've also read one of the novellas, which I really didn't like either. So I kind of was like, I'm probably not gonna read more Ali Hazelwood. But this book, you know, has been getting a lot of high praise, and it's in the Goodreads Choice Awards. And the guy on the cover does look like Milo from Atlantis, and I love Atlantis. So I am going to pick it up because I have heard better things about it. So I'm gonna start that book now and round out this reading vlog. Okay, so maybe I already knew this. Maybe I already knew this and I saw it in someone's review. First of all, the love interest has been compared to a refrigerator in the first chapter, and his hands are in fact very big, which is classic Ali Hazelwood. But our female protagonist, Elsie, teaches at Emerson, which is where I go to college. And this is all like set in Boston, which is where I am. Have I read a book set in Boston? Oh yeah, I did. I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. But like the way she just went, I teach at UMass Boston, Emerson, and BU. And I was like, no way. No the frick way. Anyway, I'm reading this book. Basically the setup is that there's two fighting teams. There's the theoretical and experimental physicists, and who cares? I know. Elsie, our main character, she has diabetes, and that's super important for the plot. I don't know. It might be. I'm literally, I need to like be serious. Okay, so she is a professor of physics. Can you tell if I don't know what that is? She's a physics professor, and she started doing this thing. I think the app is called Tho, where she like is a fake girlfriend to people, like for hire, where she just like goes to events with people and stuff and pretends to be their partner. And this book starts with her doing that for this guy, and then basically she just ends up hanging out with his brother the whole time, which I don't know really why. And then she then finds out that the brother is this experimental physicist who has been writing about how theoretical fuck physics, dude. That's the hardest thing to say. Okay, how like experimental physics, or no, how theoretical physics is like not physics, and like it's not necessary. And they're both like, they're not up for the same job. He's like in a superior position, but she's up for like tenure, and he kind of like stands in her way of getting the job. Yeah, that's the plot so far. Am I liking it? Not particularly. Like, it's not really, I don't know. I liked there was like one part where Elsie was like, I never like blonde men. I never like light-haired men. And I was like, that is a valid, and like I respect this woman more because she doesn't typically like light-haired men. Like, other than like Peeta Mellark, like name another like good blonde male love interest. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. So that was funny. But other than that, it's just kind of like, it's happening, it's going. And I will update you probably when I have finished this book, because I just needed to do my preliminary update that she teaches at Emerson, which is crazy because I'm about to go to class. The general plot setup of the book. Hello friends. So I am here to wrap up the vlog and give you my final rating for Love Theoretically. So I liked this book. Like, I wasn't as offended by it as like Love on the Brain. Love on the Brain really annoyed me for some reason. I didn't love it. I'm giving it like a 2.5. Like, I don't think I like STEM romances. Like, every time like they were talking about science, like my eyes glazed over. I was like, I don't care. And all the like science metaphors were just like not hitting for me. Like, I just don't think like STEM romances like are my genre, because I was thinking about it and I was thinking like, I did like the relationship well enough, and I was thinking about comparing it to the other books I read for this video, and like I don't think it was like bad. I just don't think it's my thing. And like, did I find my thing in this video? Not necessarily. Like, I liked the True Love Experiment I like the relationship in the True Love Experiment and the relationship in the 7-Year Slip probably the best. But the 7-Year Slip just like is the one that worked for me the most. Here's my final ranking of all the books that I read, just in order of how much I like them. I don't think this turned me into romance girly, but I do think it has me still searching for a romance book that I will really enjoy, because I don't think I'm gonna stop reading romance books. I think I just like these kind of fell off my radar for a while and I started thinking about other genres more. I do like romance. Like, I like it enough, and I think that I'm not gonna stop reading it just because certain things don't work for me. I'm definitely going to seek out some books that weren't on the Goodreads Choice Awards. But if you have any romance recommendations for me that maybe weren't like nominees for the Goodreads Choice Awards, please let me know. Like, if there's a romance book you think I might like, or you really liked, because I never know where to start with romance, because I feel like I only ever know the ones that are really popular. But anyways, that is all for this video. I will be doing one more reading vlog for this year, I think, to round out the year, which will be my 24-hour readathon. Yeah, sorry there have been no videos for a while. I was in finals and things were a little bit crazy, but we're done now. So look forward to some new year and end of year content coming very soon that I'm really excited to film and post for you guys. So yes, with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe to all the things, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!